Hello and welcome to the Zwift Racing League. It's time for race 7 of season 3, and we're heading back to the very competitive, magnificent 8 course. Second time we've been there as we raced there on season 1 before. My name is Dave Toll. I'll be your host, although I'm temporarily taking the role for Matt Stevens, who's doing a tremendous job at the Giro d'Italia, but we can't wait to have Matt back, as well as our man Rasan Bahati, who won't be with us this week. I know everyone loves Rasan's replays, but we're hoping to have him back as soon as possible. So that being said, we are locked and loaded. The stakes are high. Precision will be paramount, and only those with massive power need apply today. Speaking someone who precise has power and is one of the best colleagues in the world, let me bring on board the legend, Hannah Walker. Hannah, great to have you with us again.
Thanks very much, Dave. Pleasure to be back with you. We're missing Rasan and Matt, but we very much look forward to their return very, very soon. And tonight, if last week was anything to go by, tonight is going to be on fire.
I completely agree, Hannah. You know, these team time trials are we see these massive shifts on the table. But before we jump in to the racing here today, last week was beautiful. It doesn't get much better than Paris in the springtime. And we were racing on Champs-Élysées, the most iconic avenue in the world. It was our penultimate points race, race 6. Let's go back and take a look. Season 3's Race 6. Beautiful Paris, France, and the iconic Champs-Élysées. We've got an attack already, Jaden Yeager here. And it's going to be Tom Thrall, Shell Power coming across the line. We are starting to launch again. You get the feeling that these guys are hungry for points. Brian Duffy Jr. on the next team. Van Elst is just going to get it. Gumbel and Bird rolling away now. They've got 6 seconds.
Almost
Rasan.
6 seconds.
We've got 63 riders in the front group. Coming over the top is Anders Foldiger. He's going to try to bring this down to 300 meters, and he's got a nice little gap. Can Foldiger hold on? That one was so close. Brian Duffy Jr. for 50 points. Freddie Ovett gets second with 40. Matthias de Roos for third. Thomas Thrall, he went from the back of the group to 4th place there.
What a finish by everyone. The top 5 was absolutely smashing it today, so well done.
Well, there were some heavy legs after 6 trips up. Who knew that Champs-Élysées would have that much of a climbing feature to it at each of those sprints? Well, great racing there, but now let's see where everything stands. It's been a tremendous 6 races to get us to this point. Really competitive, and some new teams have broken through. Although the team on top meet the new boss, it's the same as the old boss there, as Canyon Esports with 89 points. Holding off, though, a community promotion. This is an outstanding story when you look at BZR Sports Solid and the 83 points that they have, as they right now are our silver standard. PO Auto Ceramic Speed, another institution in the ZRL, sitting on 80 points. And then you can see how it stacks up very tightly now, as it's like cordwood here, 70, 70, and 70 for Callis Esport, the Norwegian team. Movistar, the World Tour team we brought into ZRL this season, and man, have they represented well. Finesse Esports also in that group at 70. So basically, that's your 4th through 6th spot we're looking at there. Saris the Pros Closet, they are knocking on the door. They came to kick it in here today, as they're a specialist team in this discipline of team time trialing. They're sitting at 7th. Next, Esports. This is the team of Ashton Ashton Lambie, he just won a gold medal a couple of days ago at the World Cup UCI in Hong Kong in pursuit. Nice job, Ashton. Next Esports going to be riding on some real motivation, some wind in their sails. It's Kirkmeyer e-racing team sitting in ninth, but it's close because Ceres Next Esports 66 tie, only 2 points back to Kirkmeyer. BRT Mountain Fuel rounds out our top 10, but it goes a little deeper than that because we got some teams on the move in this second part of the table, like Insured, presented by Pedal Power at 49 points. You never know when Legion of LA is going to have a brilliant day. Is it today? It could be, as they will be a team to watch. Restart Racing sitting in 13th. And then you've got the WES, World Elite Zwifters, presented by Oral 7. They're in 14th. 15th right now is Beast Mode, presented by Rose. Team Swedish Zwifters in 16th. Our Japanese squad, Zwift Warrior Cycling, they're in 17th. And now this is the group where you start worrying about promotions from the Community League coming up to take your spot. No Pins, R3R. They're sitting in 18th. Dutch Racing in 19th and Draft in 20th. These teams are looking to make a move out there today. So that gives us a good look, Hannah, at the way things stand right now. But as we said, there's going to be a lot of movement on that table by the time things are done and dusted out here today. Let's go and take a look at the course that they're going to be racing on, as this one is a classic. I think you'd agree, Hannah?
Yes, certainly. This is Wildtopia's Magnificent 8. We've been here before in Season 1, so some of those teams will have a taster as to what to expect. 29 kilometers, only 156 meters of elevation. There's only one significant climb on this course. It's the reverse hilly KOM. The rest of the route is mostly flat. So we pass some of the iconic Wildtopia landmarks as well. So the volcano, we have the land bridge, we have noisy waterfall, reverse hilly KOM, Ocean Boulevard, and then we head down onto the Fuego Flats into the desert. The intermediate time check will be at 15.3 kilometers. That will give the teams a little bit of an indication as to how they're doing, where they are standing in the leaderboard. But Dave, there's 20 teams taken to the start tonight who will be off at 1 minute intervals. Let's take a look at some of those teams.
Yeah, thanks, Hannah. As we said, this season 3 has been hyper competitive. And what's really been great is the parity that we're seeing. There's a few teams here that might be a little further down on the table that could strike out for a win. The fastest time that we had ever seen on this course was the Vetus team. We'll talk more about how quick that was in the mid 36s. But certainly there's going to be some teams, Hannah, that are specialist team time trial squads. This is the final team time trial of the season. It has to mean something extra to them.
It does, and also they want to try and make up any points. They want to try and solidify their results on the standings as well. And we've got an array of colour of jerseys, some very nice ones indeed. Always the No Pins R3RE racing team. The jersey stands out to me on the middle row. Also the BZR Sport Solid jersey. Some wonderful ones there. But Dave, who would be your 3 teams to watch tonight? Do you have some in mind?
You know, Hannah, I'm going to start with Canyon, as this squad really personifies what the team time trial is about. It's about working together, consistency, understanding strengths and weaknesses, and communicating. And they do that very well at Canyon Esports. I would have to say, if you want to look at the legends in esports, Lionel Viasen makes our Hall of Fame on everybody's first vote. Gary Mueller, the South African, if you ever wanted to find the definition of a teammate, look at Gary. The guy is always there when you need him. And Hannah, he's the glue that really keeps this team together. Alex West out of New Zealand, an outstanding talent. A rider, you used the word trajectory. Well, Spencer Segabrook has really taken some big steps forward. And then from season to season, the teams are constantly looking to reinforce, and in some cases, they have to rebuild. Well, Canyon was somewhere in between those two, but bringing on Antoine Nolpen, the Dutch rider, was the difference for them, and why they're on top of the table right now is the depth of Canyon. Another team that has depth, I tell you what, you go back to December, watch that World Championships of Esports on Zwift, and 2 of the riders on this team were on that podium, Anders and Niklas. It's an all-Danish squad, no weak link at all. specialists at this discipline. It's easy to imagine Anders Foldager, Niklas Pedersen, Jeppe Falk, Bjorn Andresen, Daniel Stampe. This is a team now that will always be contenders in any team time trial that they enter. They've had some bad luck this year. They're looking for a little bit of a turning of the table on that. Final team to look at will be Sarah's The Pros Closet, Hannah. I really like this squad. They've got a great esprit de corps. Gavin Dempster, Matthew Gardner, Dan Fleeman, David Talbot, and breakthrough star. Boy, I tell you, Eric Levinson has got a huge engine, and he was a very dangerous breakaway late in the race last week. But this is a team that they could use a little bit of karma rebate as well. But Hannah, that's a look at all the teams that we're highlighting. Someone's going to come out of the woodwork out there today. You're a former racer yourself. Doesn't get much more nerve-wracking than the start of a team time trial, and here we go.
It certainly doesn't. Well, Dave, 3 great picks then, but only time will tell, quite figuratively speaking and quite literally as well, as we're underway with Team Draft. For the first team out of the blocks this evening, who start things off on the Magnificent 8.
Now, this is a team, I was talking about breakthrough stars. There's Ryan Rudderham. There's a few Canadians on this team that have been a lot of fun. Now, Bruce Bird, definitely his star is on the rise. This is the 95-kilo rider that OJ Borge was talking about during World of Zwift, and he's already got a lot of fans. They're calling him the Birdman now. Ed Veal, another guy. Ed Veal has ridden more, I think it's 1,006 kilometers in one 24-hour period, Hannah. Wrap your mind around that. 600 miles in one day on Zwift. I'm assuming he was on Fuego Flats. I'm not sure. You'd have to think.
Wow.
But this team, even though they're sitting in 20th, they don't feel like it to me. Draft is a team that just needs to catch a break.
Certainly, and as you were speaking about it before as well, that some teams, they've had bad luck here and there, and Draft one of those where, as you say, just need to catch a break. They're such a solid squad together, and they're keeping things together nicely out the blocks here on from downtown Watopia. Jed Scott, Bruce Bird, Ed Veal, Warren Muir, and Ryan Rudderham. Rudderham there on the front with the disc wheel in the back. Most riders, I think, on this team all sporting a disc wheel to make maximum aerodynamics. There's only one rider there on the squad by the looks of things.
We're going to move on, Hannah, to the Dutch racing team. I'm still seeing discs. I'm hoping to get my disc on Zwift soon. I believe it's level 35, so these are some experienced Zwifters as well. They're not just showing up to race in dribs and drabs. Dutch racing, Joost van der Bosch, Michael Volts, who's a previous winner in one of our points races earlier. Although, Hannah, it looks like they're starting with 4. This is a very familiar team and jersey. They've been with us for the long haul out here. Bertus Turks and Tibor Zwan, the team that we're looking at from Dutch Racing. So, Hannah, let's talk some details really quickly here. The teams start with 5, and you're going to need them. There is a long, flat section through the desert out here. Many, many miles in the desert. Here in the U.S., Hannah, I don't think you do it in the U.K., but they'll have these signs that say, last chance for gas for 130 miles kind of thing, right? And it's almost like that's what you feel like you're going into. There's going to be nowhere to get a Gatorade. There's going to be, not that these guys would be drinking Gatorade, I wouldn't think, but certainly it's a long, flat haul. But to get there, you have to go over a very challenging climb, hilly reverse. And keeping your team together there, not having to regroup on the flats, wouldn't you think that, I mean, for the first third of the race, that's your number one objective out here, is not blowing the team up on that first climb that comes at you very quick here?
It certainly is, but I think that's the same for any team time trial, that you want to try and keep your team together for as long as possible, and also to make sure that you get over looking after each other, because at the end of the day, this is a team time trial, and you want to make sure that you all keep yourselves together as a solid unit. As we see No Pins R3RE Racing Team, Chris Smart, Scott Gleason, Liam Bard, Klaas van der Nerd, and Neil Richards. This are the 5 riders from different different nationalities, and we can see their pictures
Yeah.
and pictures there. So some sporting, some very different, some in their pain caves. I'm liking the look of Liam Bard's. Very dark in there.
It looks very, futuristic, I would have to say. So I bet you that there's some kind of electronic dance music playing somewhere nearby. So, Hannah, the fastest time...
It seems like.
Yeah, you would think. Fastest time ever was a squad Vetus in season 1. We did this race, the second ever race in the ZRL, was out on this Magnificent 8 course. 36:43 was the time that Vetus had. That was Mikey Motram, Christopher McGlinchey and company on the Matteo Cigala on that team. They aren't in the league right now, but and so some things have changed since then. A lot of things have changed since then, actually. We have a vaccine for COVID. That's a big change. But we certainly right now, I don't know that I would expect a faster time with the new user interface that we have since then. It's it requires, I was talking about precision in the opening of the show. Well, it is even harder to keep that straight line. This is Zwift Warrior Cycling. It's been really fun learning about these teams, and I know Matt Stevens appreciates this squad quite a bit as we get a look at a team that is always punching above their weight. Takato Ikeda is a star in the league. Doesn't he look awesome, Hannah? Take a look at Takato right now. That's what I'm talking about. That's a Zwift Warrior Cycling representative. Hidenori Sasauchi is another rider on the team. Raisuke Honda and Kenji Matsuki making up the 4 riders on that team out here today. They're another team that brings, Hannah, spirit. You've been on good teams. Some teams have a business-like attitude to them, and some teams it seems like it's friends just living your dream. I have a feeling that Zwift Warrior Cycling is that, because right now in Tokyo, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. These guys are racing at 4 a.m.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And it just shows also how accessible it is to be able to race across all different time zones. But just looking at Ikeda, his upper body is completely solid. Only his legs, are going like the clappers. He's got a great cadence there. But I think when you look at that team, it's like they mean business, but they're having fun as well at the same time, which is great to see.
I think that was perfectly put, Hannah. Here's another team that means business. Seb does a great job with directing. I'm going to ask you some questions about the director sportif role, Hannah. As a former pro racer yourself, you really, really have a great perspective on what the value is there. Christopher Hatz is a rider. Watch the wattage here. Watch the heart rate as they rotate through. This is a team doing a tremendous job. Beast Mode presented by Rose. I mean, this is a legit sponsorship, Rose Bikes, as we take a look at the Germans. Again, Valentin Zale, Simon Betts, Niklas Ranker, Jan Emmerich making up the team. I mentioned Christopher Hatz a little bit earlier. It's interesting, Hannah, when you look at it. We see some teams like PO Auto Ceramic Speed or Beast Mode here, where it's all one nationality. Other teams where we seem to be going on 3 or 4 different continents to find the team. A lot of different ways to do it out here. And no one is any more successful than the other, it doesn't seem to me. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, Beastbone powered by Rose. They've also got a women's team as well. Everything headed up by Sebastian Wolf, who actually guided Jason Osborne to that UCI Esports World Championship back in December on Zwift. So they've got this experience, and as you mentioned before, that they've got a great sponsor in Rose as well, who actually came on board before they even made it into the Premier League, the Premier Division of the ZRL. So it just shows the strength and how esports is really building up to something special.
It really is. You see more and more teams like PO Auto Ceramic Speed or Oral 7 with World Elite Zwifters who are picking up legitimate non-cycling endemic, or in some cases cycling endemic sponsors. So this is Swedish Zwifters. This is another team where the experience is tremendous. Johan Noren, Anders Frisk, Jimmy Bowden, and Kevin Lehon. This is the team that you really never know, do you, Hannah? It's like the Forrest Gump in the box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get from this team. It could be a top 3 ride. It could be a top 10 ride. And you can see how we're talking about these are aerodynamic sectors here, where aerodynamics is absolutely the name of the game. Once you can get your power up, and boy, I mean, 50K per hour on the flats, that's what you need to order up. If you can't serve that, I don't know that you're going to be able to win out here. It's a fast pace.
Certainly not. And it all comes down, as you said before, it's all about that precision. It's about having that power. It's about coming into this as well with a solid game plan. And this is where we spoke last week that the sixth member of the team really comes into their own. And that's the sports director in the ears, in the virtual team car, giving out the orders and instructions to the riders over their different communication methods, that he or she can guide them, give them as much information and just keep them informed as well, and also be a form of motivation and encouragement to the team. It really unites the team together to create this strong bond within the squad.
Agreed. And so, Hannah, I think to dovetail onto that, this is a for racing only course, an event course. So the racers wouldn't have really done that much recon out here, or they wouldn't be super familiar with it. Now, a lot of them will have raced in season one on it. I would say if that's an interesting question, we'd have to bring in our employee of the week, Kim, and see how many riders that were racing in season one are still racing with us here. What kind of turnover have we had in the league? Because I'd say it's probably about 50% of the riders that were with us in season one are still racing now. What's your guess, Hannah?
And also the community division, we had this on the community league as well. So some of those teams and riders might have ridden it, they might not have, but that's where it comes in, that these riders who have ridden on this course previously, they're so knowledgeable. This is where they have that upper hand, that upper limit on those who have never seen the course and know what to expect.
This is an interesting stat that we're looking at. So this is the time check coming in from 1K, and you can see that Beast Mode presented by Rose was the quickest at 1:31. Now, I don't know that we've gotten everyone through at this point. So we're still waiting for about 10 teams. So we'll update this, but right now 1:31 is the quickest time. Zwift Warriors were 1.27 seconds back, and you can see that, well, you go back to Team Swedish, they had a little bit of trouble getting things in line, but it looks like BRT Mountain Fuel's just come through 1 second quicker, 1.14 quicker. This is a very interesting time check, to tell you the truth, Hannah. I love having this data because it really tells you how. So it's almost like an airplane taking off when you start a team time trial. You want to make sure you still have all the parts when you're in the air, too. You can't leave the landing gear behind or the tail behind. So it's one thing to get up to speed with a few riders, but getting everybody up to speed at 1K, you can see BRT Mountain Fuel has done it the quickest. Although, I wonder how quick we see. Does anyone get down to 125 out here? Probably not, to tell you the truth.
I think it also depends on, it depends on your warm-up, it depends on your schedule as well, because effectively you don't want to go out so fast out of the blocks that actually you blow the team apart. You go into that red zone straight away and you're unable to recover, and you're almost groveling and dragging yourself around the route, and with nothing left to give towards the back end of the race. It is quite close in that first 1 kilometer as the fastest starters, so it gives us a slight indication as to how some of the teams are going, but actually it's going to be that first intermediate checkpoint at 15.3 kilometers, which is really going to give us that clear indication.
Completely agree. We're jumping in with restart right now. Daniel Jamrosik is a rider who's got potential, without a doubt. Jaden Yeager, we've talked a lot about Jaden throughout the years. This is Restart Racing again, a team that, I was going to call an American squad, but to tell you the truth, they're a North American team, but even with Steve Pink racing out of the United Kingdom on the squad. Merlin Dalliere, a big part of the team, the Canadian rider JP Leclerc, I mentioned Jaden and Daniel. So this is Restart, a green jersey, pretty similar to PO Auto. You have to pay extra special attention when you're trying to pick these two teams out in the men's side of things. It is great having your insight out here, Hannah. Now, this is a sector that Eric from Zwift Insider calls the dirty sorpresa. So if you're on a 4% grade, when you're on this gravel, it really factor it like a 6, to tell you the truth. The gravel adds a little extra hurt out here.
It certainly does. It really does put on that pressure, and as it would in the real world, it creates a little bit of a drag as well. It's not as fast of a road as we would on the asphalt, but the team, then you just started to see one of the riders just losing touch, but actually over the top of that dirt section, they've all come back together very nicely here and regrouped as we head down and look at Legion of Los Angeles. Only 3 riders this evening: Freddie Ovett, Angel Munoz, and Lance Haydet. 2 riders from the USA. Freddie Ovett, the Australian rider, who has taken 3 victories in the ZRL so far in the individually.
Yeah, you'd have to say that no one has made as big of a mark in CRL, Hannah, as the Australian Freddie Ovett. Now, Lance Haydet. It's great to see Lance racing out here. Lance is from, well, he's lived in Bend, Oregon, and San Luis Obispo, California, but he's definitely a West Coast style American who is a tremendous cyclocross racer. He's been a national champion in cyclocross and has been one of, so there's obviously right now, cyclocross is having a moment in road racing, right, with Mathieu and Wout and Tom. And that was pretty exciting, wasn't it? If you watched the World Cup of mountain biking, it's incredible. But so we're taking a look at fastest starters again right now. But I did want to it's nice to see Lance showing a lot of range being out here at this time of year. He raced for Avolo, another one of the American teams that has Avolo has a tremendous vibe to it. They've been racing now for years, no longer anything close to a new team. I'm going to guess they're into their 6th season. But they focus on U23 riders. Well, he had graduated out of that Espoir or U23 class, and finding a home with Legion of LA was an awesome fit for Lance Hayden. They're having a little bit of trouble right now here, Hannah, just keeping the team together, kind of starting on their back foot today with only 3 riders.
They certainly are, and it really puts them under that pressure, only having 3 riders and not the full squad of 5. And we can just take a look at Legion's time after the first 1 kilometre. They're already just under 13 seconds behind the quickest starters. So that just gives us a little bit of an indication as to how much of a detrimental effect this has on the squad, only having the 3 starters.
Yeah, and I think it really speaks to what Charlie Eisendorf was trying to create with the ZRL and our courses is, one individually strong rider is nowhere close to enough to winning out here in the ZRL. It's not even about having 2 strong riders, Hannah. It's about having depth in the team when you look at the points races or obviously in the team time trial. Now, this discipline was all but dead 10 years ago. It would show up every now and then at the Tour de France, or I can't remember the last time the Giro or Vuelta had a team time trial, but it's not that frequent. Kind of think every 3rd year, maybe every 5th year, so very infrequent. There were no longer riders that you would say specialize in it. It used to be a World Championship Olympic blue ribbon event. The 100K team time trial was a significant gold medal to win at the Olympics up until 1992 in Barcelona. Well, what WTRL has done has really brought this event back, and teams like Short, presented by Pedal Power, are really making the most of it. Thomas Thrall is a danger man. Legit danger, and he's the kind of guy. Now, Thomas Thrall is the kind of guy you wish you had a team of all Thomas Thralls. You would win a lot of races in the ZRL. As Sean Holenbeck, Jake Simmons, Patrick Wally, who's the director for the United States team, but now Outside Magazine could probably put him on the cover, right? That's what you want a ZRL racer to look like, just full on awesome. And Simon Collard, the Belgian, on the team. So Canadian, 3 Americans and a Belgian making up in short. This is a team, Hannah, that I would say they're better than where they're placed right now in the league. They came very close to winning some of our points races going back to Richmond. They're going to have their moment in the ZRL.
They certainly are. They certainly are. Just see the effort that Patrick Wall is putting on at the front here of the team time trial, and you can just see how he's grinding out the power, pushing out those watts. And I can just take a little look at his stats: 155 beats per minute. As we head back to the first team that started this team time trial, it's Draft, and it looks like they have all 5 riders still together as we see them into the finale. the rear Veal deal. Ed Veal from Draft, Ryan Rudderman, Jed Scott, Warren Muir and Bruce Bird all together still into the desert. So this is impressive that they've been able to keep all 5 riders all together, and they've kept things pretty neat and tidy, Dave.
Completely agree, Hannah. I love seeing Draft have this ride here today. So we noted at the start of the show that this is a team that just needed to catch a break. Well, I think that they made their own luck out here today. Good job, Ryan Rudderham. So this team in red is honing in on the finish out here, and we're going to see Jed Scott, Bruce Bird, Ed Veal, Warren Muir, and Ryan Rudderham. As this is Draft. Another team, Hannah, that if we look back, I almost wish I had Nathan Guerra to lean on right now, because Draft might be the oldest standing team that we have racing with us. They've been around, I'm going to say 2016, and that's really the beginning of esports when you look on that timeline here. So we'll be interested to see what that time check looks like for Draft out there at the middle part of the race. Again, today we're doing just over 29K total. We've got it in the books at 29.1. This is going back, Hannah, it looks like to that first check that, well, I said 125. They got close, very close. 126. The Norwegians hit out like a scalded cat on a hot tin roof, as they have a 126 down.
Only one
Movistar.
Yeah, only one team left to come to add to that fastest starters 1 kilometer, which is Canyon. And just looking, they've been added into that leader. They've gone through, and they're 6.35 seconds down on the fastest time of Callis Esports in the fastest 1 kilometer. So as we've gone through onto the Fuego Flats into the desert, it's Draft who we are looking at now in the red jerseys. They're the ones who've set the benchmark at the first intermediate sprint and the only intermediate checkpoint, at 15.3 kilometers. So the teams now start to have an idea of where they're standing. And the next team to go through is Dutch Racing, and they're 38 seconds down on Draft. So this is a good showing so far from Draft to have the upper hand on Dutch Racing, because we know how strong they are, Dave.
Hannah, I wonder, what's the over-under on how many times I say, wow, today, because this is awesome. I mean, right there, Draft putting this kind of time into Dutch Racing, that's significant. Are they on a top 5 ride today? I would love to see it. I want to take a moment, Hannah, to look back in history here. As if you go back in season 1 to France, it was Canyon that won. Second place was Callis. I would not be surprised at all if they win today. The Norwegian team is looking to punch above their weight. We're going to go in and take a look at no pins coming through. That is the check at 15.1K, so it's just a little past the halfway march. That's one thing, that arch there, very recognizable if you're a Zwifter. You've ridden underneath it hundreds of times, I would imagine. Back in, they are hauling full tilt boogie right now for the Draft team. I love it. You can just feel that these guys have got a real charge in the squad. They are really well suited. Talking about, you mentioned the real deal, Ed Veal, Bruce Bird, Ryan Rudderham. I mean, they are canucking up today. Looks like BRT that we have right now, BRT Mountain Fuel. The Swiss rider, it's another rider you wish you could clone if you were a team director. The mighty, mighty Swiss rider, Nicky Hug, Will Budge out of the United Kingdom, Howell Davies, as Howell there at that Welsh flag as they roll through BRT Mountain Fuel. Is always going to be in the mix. All right. It's always about, Hannah, just keeping the team organized. Big part of this here. Simon Welling and Matt Brook,
certainly is,
I
and
should
just
shout out as well.
Yeah, it certainly is about keeping them all together, and just to go back to a Draft as well. I think seeing that time and the time that they posted at the intermediate checkpoint actually is going to give them a lot of motivation, a lot of confidence as well. Okay, there's only been 3 teams who've gone through that checkpoint, but actually this can unite a team, and when they have that motivation from their sports director as well in their ears, as we see the next team come through the intermediate checkpoint. This is Beast Mode powered by Rose. Let's take a look at what time they've posted here underneath the rock arch, as our guys in Zwift HQ are just taking a look at the intermediate check time.
Yeah, Beast Mode is another team that I put a question mark next to, Hannah, in my notes. You never really know what they're going to do. They've been right there on the threshold. They will absolutely have huge results in this league. This split is very interesting. I mean, Hannah, draft now. I mean, no one has come within 20 seconds. Now, I realize we're still, I mean, draft had 6 seconds. So Callus and Saris, these are the two that I would be the most worried about for that split time. Now again, this is the midpoint of the race that we're looking at here. 15.3K, correcting myself, I was saying 15.1, so 15.3K at Fuego Flats. Now, Swedish, I'm not expecting them, Hannah, to be within 20 seconds. We'll see if I'm wrong. It's the most interesting checkpoint we've had all year. 30.2 for Swedish. No one's coming close.
Well, it's quite
Not
close
even
in the
close
standings.
to draft.
Yeah, it's no, but the placings behind, they're sitting quite close. But for draft, they've gone out very, very strong here, and this is going to be about going out hard. They just need to hold on for the final 14 kilometers of this team time trial, and I just hope for their sake that they haven't gone too deep into that red zone.
Gosh, Hannah, I'm starting to think they haven't, to tell you the truth. I am getting that feeling of when you're on the front end of a breakthrough ride. When you look at the Taco Vanderhorn's ride at the Giro, right? It is what makes sports so beautiful when someone gives the team no chance. And I mean, this would be incredible if our 20th place team in the league is able to find the top 3. That's amazing. It's almost a cycling miracle if they win. I'm certainly pulling for them. So this is going to be World Elite Zwifters. I've talked about the Brazilian rider Franklin Almeida. He makes massive watts. Now, it looks like they're doing a good job, good, not great, out there today, as they'll slot in 33 back. Now, Saris and Callus, Canyon 2. Canyon was about, I'm going to say, 8 seconds behind Callus early. We'll see how much they've been able to bring back, if anything. But let's see what Restart is doing out here, Hannah. Boy, anybody who tells you that team time trialing isn't exciting clearly hasn't watched the ZRL. I'm on the edge of my seat right here. This is going to be absolutely brilliant. So can draft do it? What's going to happen out here with Saris and Callus? Can Callus take a huge win? They've been second this season in this discipline, so you never do know. We're going to stop the clock at the checkpoint, Hannah, for Restart. See where they slot in.
Well, they slot in 4th position so far, 28 seconds down on the time of draft. So again, as I said, the time's very, very close between Zwift Warriors. We've got Restart Racing and Team Swedish Swifters all within 4 seconds of each other. As we look at Ensured, powered by Pedal Power, Thrall leading this one through now, the Canadian rider.
Well, you can see just in front of them, Hannah. They're off screen right now, but the blue jerseys of Legion, so they are honing in on Legion. And now you put that carrot out in front of the horse. It's more like putting a piece of steak in front of a pit bull when you've got Thomas Thrall here, because he's going to go get it. Now, he doesn't want to blow up the team in the process here. You got to gauge your efforts here, and motivation can be a double-edged sword. Sometimes going to get you out there too hard. Now, we have to give credit to the Legion of LA team. They only started with 3 out here. So Freddie Ovid has been doing double duty here on the front. All of these guys have been working hard. The fact that they've been able to hold, so the teams start at a 1-minute interval. The fact that they've been able to hold off Restart out here is a pretty solid ride in and of itself. So credit where it's due out here. Everybody's in their own individual battle. But for Restart, having the ability, Ensured, having the ability to chase down a team like this is the perfect situation for them. It just gets a couple more watts out of them.
It does, it certainly does. And it's almost like free watts because you've got that motivation to try and catch a team in front of you. And you can just start to see the team of Insured just coming into the distance as Legion of Los Angeles go through the rock arch and post a time of 1 minute and 15 seconds back on Draft. As straight after that is Insured powered by Pedal Power who go through that checkpoint. What time will they post? They still have the 4 riders all together. And they slot in third place, 25 seconds down at the 15.3 kilometer checkpoint. So they're into third place. So this is starting to look to me that Draft are really on to one of the strongest rides that we've seen in the ZRL so far.
I tell you what, Hannah, so this desert reminds me of that 20-mule team that they used to use to haul the silver from the mines down to the trains where they could ship it to the cities. And you have got to have, to get through this kind of territory, when you think about it, the draft horses that they've got on that draft team fit perfectly to the situation. They've got 5 riders still together. There's a bunch of teams with 4, a few teams with 3, not many with 5, as we're going to take a look at BRT Mountain Fuel at that check, 15.3K in. I mean, it's coming down to Callis, PO Auto as well. We haven't mentioned PO Auto Ceramic Speed. They're going to be close. There's going to be teams coming in between. Oh, new second fastest time, 19:07 there. But Hannah, not that much closer. Draft is having their day. There is a shaft of light shining down on that team from heaven today. They are definitely having the day that they've been waiting for 3 seasons. This is incredible to watch. In with Kirkmeyer now, Hannah.
They're on a ride today, and it'll be interesting to see what Kirkmeyer posts at this intermediate checkpoint. And I think for Draft, perhaps they thought and they came into this with a solid game plan that let's go out hard, let's try and see if we can hang on until the finish, and let's try something different as opposed to going out more steadily, more reserved. Let's just go out there, post a good time, let's get that confidence behind us and post a time that becomes almost impossible for any team to beat. As Kirkmeyer, they go into second, 14 seconds back on Draft. As we see Saris here, led by Talbot.
So for the Draft team, Hannah, it was a win or die trying type of attitude that they had at the start, and that is a beautiful thing to see in sports. I mean, we've talked about it. In order to win at this level, you have to risk losing. But how about going from the 20th place team in a 20-team league to being a threat for the win? Here's another team that's an absolute threat. Put a gold star next to Saris, the pros closet. Another team, okay, 4 riders together. That's going to be David Talbot that we're looking at here. So they have lost a rider. That's not necessarily a major drama, certainly not ideal, but boy, this is a team that wrote the book, and they come through. Here we go. Move into a new mode as this is a Donnybrook. It's 2 seconds back to Saris, the pros closet at the midway check. And it is basically, Hannah, flat from here on in. Almost all of the climbing has already been done. It's a flat out drag race in the desert, and Draft is through. We've got a new, okay, I was going to say, updating things here now. I want to make sure that we didn't lose. Okay, Draft has our fastest time. Saris, the pros closet at 2 seconds back. Let's see what we've got here, because PO Auto Ceramic Speed is obviously going to put up a very quick time. Next, Esport is through, and we've got a new fast time. There you go. Next is your new fast time by force. Hannah, does it get any better than this, Hannah Walker?
My, wow. I mean, Draft did well to hang on to that fastest intermediate checkpoint there, but next Esport, they only have gone through 4 seconds faster, and it's getting a bit closer now towards the top with Saris and the pros closet 6 seconds back as we start to see the next team coming through. This will be Callis Esport Racing Team, the all Norwegian squad here. As you can see the draft of this team, so you can see the draft saving of this squad. And they've got a wide draft section here. As you can see, the red section is the place to be.
Okay, this is the Norwegian team, Callis. These are the Vikings of Zwift. And so this is a feature that I absolutely love. Great job, Johnny. So that was really showing you. It's a heat map. You want to be in the red. Now, these gaps are not ideal, but this team, Hannah, is as close to cracking the user interface code as any team out there. Though right now we can see that they have your fastest time. Callis Esport is through 1935 at the one. Well, we have 2 checks today. Already everyone has blazed through our early checkpoint. This at 15.3. Callis Esport with a 1935. Now, Hannah, that might not be the fastest time, but look what we've got now. 4 teams within 7 seconds. It's probably going to be 6 teams within 7 seconds as we move into the finale. Make it the grand finale, our final team time trial of season 3. This is without a doubt the best competition that we have seen yet in the ZRL. This parity has been tremendous as we take a look now, Hannah, at another team just crushing it. There's the Dutch rider, Eason. This is Finesse that we're with.
Yeah, Kenny Neeson, Matt Usborne, Alex Telmansov, and Hayden Warner. They've just lost a rider who's slightly off the back here. So this team, as they head through the rock arch, through the intermediate checkpoint, they only have the 3 riders, so they're going to have to make sure that they keep things all together. Of course, the time check is taken on the 3rd rider across the finish line, and they're down in 5th place at the moment, 19 seconds. So it's not all over for that team of Finesse. As we take a look at the Movistar Esports team, Vida Mel just in there, Daniel Gould, Pim van Diemen, and also Miguel Andres. And they will be coming towards the rock arch. It'll be interesting to see what time they can post.
Yeah, Hannah, this is a team that moving into the Zwift Racing League this year from the World Tour. It was great to bring them on board. It'll be interesting to see how things sort out for them. We're getting very, very close to the finish. We're in with draft. They are at 1K to go. So they were our first team to start. Without any doubt, they'll be, I mean, they would have most likely passed a team or 2 had they started a little bit further down the start order with the ride that they put together today. There was a man who played a pivotal role, is Bruce Bird. They've got 4 riders together. This is a ride that they will certainly remember. You know, Hannah, we've joked for the last year about leveling up. You just witnessed the draft team level up here today. Even so, this is a top 5 ride in my mind. It might be a top 3 ride out here today. This team has made a huge stride forward. Bruce Bird, you're a hero.
They certainly have. Well, they've only lost 1 rider coming into the final few hundred meters of this race. It's only Warren Muir, and he did a mighty turn into the final kilometers, and they're striving for that finish line. They want to try and eke out every second that is possible, and we will bring you the time that they posted in downtown Watopia as soon as possible. As we look at Pio Auto.
Yeah, thank you, Hannah. This might be the scariest team out there if you are racing for the win today. They are just through the time check. That's why we haven't seen them much. They were one of the last teams to start out here. So the conversation is going to move now to some new teams that you haven't heard from much yet, with all the excitement around that ride coming out of draft. Well, and Short is having a great ride today as well. Callis, though, the fastest time out there. And we're going to update BZR, new fastest time, Hannah. BZR Sports Solid. I predicted, to tell you the truth, they were my Smoky. Remember at the top of the show talking about I think they will win today. I still stick by that. BZR Sports Solid. No one is going to come through that check quicker than 1929 in my mind. I expect Pio Auto and Canyon to be near it, but not better, to tell you the truth. That's an incredible ride by the Belgian BZR Sports Solid team. They've been really close to having this breakthrough performance. It looks like today's the day. Wow.
Dave, if you were a sports director now, what would you be telling your riders if you were quite close in the time checks and the time gaps?
Keep it steady and stick with your plan. It looks like we'd have to spend some more time with them, but it looks like P.O. Auto was 6th That's huge. So you know what I would be doing immediately, Hannah? 16. Holy cow. So I'd be relaying positive information to the team, telling them that some of their danger teams are not having a good day today. So stick to the plan, guys. This Canyon time is now the most dangerous for BZR. Where does Canyon come in? Watching closely here. This is updating very quickly. In at 7th, BZR Sports Solid, riding with the wings of angels out here today. So this is Canyon we're in with now. They definitely, they wouldn't expect to be here. So if you look back now, Canyon had a 6-point lead coming into this race. That is not where they want to be right now. It could be worse, but not ideal. They need to move up into the top 5. They need to do a little bit of a save here.
They do. And as we take a look at the standings of the intermediate checkpoint, we have Beast Mode there in 11th, Ensured Power by Pedal Power in 12th, Zwift Warriors there in 13th, Restart Racing in 14th, Team Swedish Swifters down in 15th, No Pins R3R in 16th, PO Auto Ceramic Speed. So that's a huge surprise there in 17th. Huge. World of Elite Zwifters in 18th. Yeah, it's a real surprise, hey. 19th is Dutch Racing and Legion of Los Angeles with the 3 riders there in 20th. But I think the big surprise that has come so far is PO Auto Ceramic Speed. I mean, I'm wondering, actually, have they had a problem for one of their riders and actually they decided, let's wait for them, let's get the team back together, and it's not paid dividends for them?
It's stunning. Absolutely stunning, Hannah. I have no explanation for it, but I will tell you this. What's devastating is it's the second time it's happened to them now. So whether it's a technical issue with the internet, who knows? But that is devastating for PO Auto Ceramic Speed, and that is going to change things on our leaderboard dramatically. This is going to be Zwift Warrior Cycling coming into the finish. So some of our early starters are already finished out here on this 29.2 kilometer course out here. That one is done and dusted. We'll start looking at finish times. And okay, Hannah, the fastest time ridden on this course ever was Vitas at a 36:43. So just outside of that was Draft. I mean, just outside of that. That's a benchmark time. I do expect that they end up in the top 5 today, maybe the top 3. Callus, they might be the only team that can beat them today, Hannah. If that, to tell you. Well, excuse me, and BZR, obviously. Wow.
Yeah, definitely. It gives you a real indication, doesn't it, to the ride that Draft have done. When you look at the time that Vitas posted in Season 1, as the next team crossed that finish line, and not far behind is Team Swedish Swifters. So we're going to get a flurry of teams coming in. And Dutch Racing Team there in 5th place so far, 1 minute and 16 back. No Pins R3R 57 seconds back. Zwift Warriors with 54, and Beast Mode are the team who've just gone through the finish line, 39 seconds in arrears from Draft.
So yeah, when you look at that table there, so that's Draft's time of 36:51. I don't expect for the next 5-10 minutes here that we see a faster time than 36:51. We mentioned the course record going back to Season 1 was only 7 seconds faster. That's an incredible ride from Draft, who came into today as the team at the bottom of our rankings in 20th place. That will be one of the great stories coming out of today's final team time trial of Season 3. This is going to be Swedish Swifters now looking to find their way into the top 10. Rider time, team time, taken off of the 3rd rider here. So they are in good shape right now. We will stop the clock for Swedish Swifters. Going back to the 1K mark now. This is the team to beat. To tell you the truth, Hannah, we're in with BZR, Sport Solid. This is a team, so Mathieu Derus on this team was on the podium last week in Paris. He's got a huge engine. The team of Leonard Tugels, who to me was the biggest talent. You know what? I was going to say the biggest talent. Back to you, Hannah.
Well, I think you can just see PO Auto there in the distance for this team. So what a great motivation it is for this team. I mean, when you look at a team like Pure Auto, Ceramic Speed, who are so dominant in the points races and have been there in the team time trials previously, when you see a team like that in front of you with such a magnitude, this must be great mentally and for the confidence and the motivation.
It's like catching Eddie Merckx in an individual time trial. You got to feel pretty good about yourself, or Eddie Merckx in the 1960s, I should say. But when you look at it for BZR, this is icing on the pain cake right now because they've had an incredible ride. Now, this is a team that came in. I mean, if you were going to look at the odds makers in Vegas and talk about the big favorites, well, PO Auto Ceramic Speed would come in as one of them. Well, when you're about to catch them, that just gives you even more morale. Hannah, an incredible ride. So, boy, I mean, my heart goes out to Draft, but I think we're watching the gold standard ride out here right now from BZR Sports Solid.
We certainly are.
Look at the draft.
I mean, I think you can look at the draft and just see how they've got it nailed on, and they're passing one solitary rider at the moment. But
they are a wattage blowtorch.
Getting a great benefit here.
Huge. I mean, yeah, we talked about the user interface. I mean, look at these guys all on this heat map. I mean, and Fuego doesn't even begin to describe the Belgians out here today. This is the ride of the season, and look at the motivation that they've got with PO Auto Ceramic Speed as they go by the Sinclair Dinosaur there. As this is exactly what you need, because at this point you are deep in the pain cave. You're wandering around with a broken flashlight at this point, looking for an exit strategy, and it is right now that finish line. These guys are finding another level. Holy cow. So is it enough to beat Draft? That's going to be the question. We take a look here. Other teams have come through. Beast Mode 39 seconds back. Swedish 49 back. Draft were at another level. No doubt about it, Hannah.
They certainly were. And now as BZR, they're just about to make that catch with Pure Auto Ceramic Speed. So if I was the sports director, the manager now, I'd be saying, let's just keep to the plan. Let's take confidence from this. Let's take motivation, but let's make sure that we keep the team together. Let's keep in our own formation. Let's not get too distracted from the fact that we've caught one of the best teams in the ZRL right now, and they just need to make this overtake and get themselves back into their formation. This is a wonderful catch here, and as you said before, that team time trialing, has it ever been more exciting? Because we weren't expecting this tonight, hey?
No, yeah, absolutely stunning. We're in with Ensured right now, Hannah, but that was a clean pass and well described by you there as we look at Ensured just into the final 100 meters right now. So they're ready to put paid. This is a team should come closer than anyone up to this point to that benchmark time of 36:51 put up by Draft. Our first team to start has been in the hot seat for quite a while. Legion of LA, so Lance Hayden here coming in with Angel Munoz and Freddie Ovett, and they are done. Tough day out there for Legion of LA, starting with 3.
Hard day, but they've got through it. They're in 10th place provisionally at the moment. 2 minutes and 2 seconds down on the time of Draft as we see the next team coming through. BRT, Mountain Fuel, Matt Brook, Søren Welling, Will Budge, Nicky Hug, and Hewell Davis.
Everybody just galloping,
100
Hannah,
meters
at
left
this point.
of this team time trial. They are.
Yep.
They are. They're galloping to this finish, and it's just all about emptying the tank, giving everything you've got left. The lungs will be burning, the legs will be burning. And we start to see already the next team coming through here. This is Kirchmeier. Johannes is leading them in here, followed by Stefan.
When you look at Kirchmeier, they're going to have a win in the team time trial. They're such an organized team. It's Germans and Austrians and Swiss riders that make up the team. Majority of them, like Johannes Reckenauer there, the rider who's going to bring them home, actually. It looks like a little bit of a surge here. It's going to be an interesting day, Hannah, when we sort out all of the points out here with what happened with PO Auto Ceramic Speed. There's going to be some teams looking to move up the table significantly. Let's jump in with Saris, the Pros Closet. Even if they're down to 3, We've got 8 teams still out on course. I'm not sure if they have a 4th rider just off screen or not here, but this is David Talbot that we're in with, another team that are perennial contenders out here when you talk about the yellow and green squad, the Lymans of Saris, the Pros Closet. It is just a 3. So,
well, they've
back to you,
maximized.
Hannah, as they bring it home.
They've maximized their. They've maximized the use of their team. They started with the 5, and now they're leading things into the finish with Matt Gardner, David Talbot, and Gavin Dempster. So this squad of Saris and the Pros Closet coming into the finish in Watopia here in downtown with the 3 riders. And can they challenge the time of 36 minutes and 51 seconds? Kirchmar came close. They're the closest so far, but still 15 seconds in arrears.
I don't think it's going to be quite enough, Hannah, as there's sort of a tale of 2 groups happening out here as we're starting to fill in. So, yeah, there you go, at 26:46. So they're going to be, right now, our 3rd fastest time. It's really going to be BZR, the team that we're going to be looking for. Can Canyon do something special in the second half of this race? Maybe, maybe not. But certainly BZR is looking to throw a knockout punch on Watopia. Although I have to say, Hannah, the People's Champions, the draft team, starting as the first squad out there. And, well, we're back in with Callis, another team to watch here today. Let's bring Callis home. This is going to be interesting to see how close they get. There is some potential here, Hannah, and they are flying now. The Vikings are full gas.
They are. They are in full flight with a full squad as well of 5 riders here. And this is one of the 2 teams that I think could challenge here. But it looks, though, when you look at the time here, look, Next Esport have gone through the finish. Draft are now down to 2nd, only 2 seconds in arrears. So what can Callis Esports racing team do here? The team made up of full Norwegians, and they're sprinting and powering to the line.
Oh boy, this one is going to be a cat's whisker separating. So, they're through. We've got a new course record. We've got a new course record. Nobody saw this coming. Shocking the esports world today. Callis Esport in with a 36-39. Next now, 9 seconds back. Draft still in the top 3 at 11 seconds back. I am going to call them the People's Champions today, as Draft Racing had a day to remember. But BZR is looking to crush dreams out here as we look at Finesse coming through 1K to go. Usborn, another rider who had a prominent breakaway.
Wow.
What a race, Hannah.
What a race. Ride there from Callis Esports. Incredible.
Well, I don't think Finesse is going to get into that top 3. Kirkmeyer, though, is going to be looking to hold on to that 4th spot. We're going to see if maybe they can shock me as well. They're pressing right now as they make their way into the last few 100 meters. Callis Esport, though, a new course record. So, we're going back to season 1. I thought that 36-43 would stand, but it does not. Broken by 4 seconds, and BZR is going to look to go under that time, Hannah. This is Finesse coming into the final few meters here. This one is just about done and dusted.
Wow, what a fantastic time by Callis Esports so far. Finesse will want to try and challenge this, but the finish line can't come quick enough for Tenelshoff, Usborn, and Nyson of Finesse Esports. What are they going to stop the clock with? And they stop the clock 50 seconds down on Callis Esports.
One of the toughest things, Hannah, for teams coming into the ZRL, like Movistar World Tour Edition, is they don't have much time to rehearse this team time trial. This is going to be Van Diemen that we're looking at now. He came over from the World Elite Zwifter squad, now on Movistar. There's the finish line. That'll be a welcome relief out here for the Movistar team. Let's see if they find the top 10. I think they eke into the top 10 here, and they do. 4th place, 24.89 back. Fastest time remains Callis Esport. This is the team of monsters. BZR Sports Solid in full effect. Hannah, have they done enough? Can they beat that time of Callus Esport and set a new world record out here on the Magnificent 8? 29.1K of racing.
Well, they're coming here into the finish with all their full roster, their full squad of riders of 5. So what can this all-Belgian team do of Matthias de Groos, Mathieu de Kock, Stefan Van Elst, Joni Bock, and Lennart Turgels?
Yeah, there's so much talent on this team that right now these guys have got to be in that zone. Activate crush mode as they now go into the final few hundred meters. This is BZR Sports Solid. This is how you do it in the ZRL. They have been hungry, looking for a win. They come to Watopia, and do they lick their plate clean as a collective squad? It doesn't get better than this. Callus Esport in the hot seat. They're going to be chewing on their fingernails right now, wondering what, and there it is. Oh,
and
my,
they do.
36.
They did it. Wow.
History, Hannah. History being made here today. I've got goosebumps. What an incredible finale for our final team time trial of Season 3. BZR in full effect. Now, Canyon's still out on course, but I think that will take the wind out of their sails when they hear that 36-31. They're going to be fighting to hold on to their series lead. They've got a lot to race for right now, Canyon does.
They certainly do. And when we came into this, we were talking before the show saying how difficult the time that Vitus set back in Season 1 would be hard to beat. And we've had 2 teams break the course record so far with BZR Sports Solid and Callus Esports. Canyon Esports, well, it'd be interesting to see what they can do. And as you said, if they have the news of the time that these 2 teams have done, could it break them or will it make them?
Well, that's a great question, Hannah. No doubt about it. So here's the story, folks. Look how closely these times are stacked up from 5th, 6th, and 7th. It is a massive difference. If Canyon can get into the top 5, which I think they're going to do, Hannah, I think they come in right behind Draft. And if that's the case, it is just enough for them. Not ideal. And there it is. They did. So there you go. That way, it could have been a whole lot worse, to tell you the truth, because Canyon Esports in at 5th. Wow. What a day of racing. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. This was a nail-biter, to say the least, as we take a look now at a 36-31, a new course record. Look at the wattage that they created. That watts per kilo at 5.36 is out of this world. BZR Sports Solid, that was the gold standard of team time trials. Callus, and also a course record out here today, beating that 36-43 that we thought would have stood for a while. Callus Esport Racing Team, they come close, 8 seconds back. Next Esport in 3rd, they'll collect a bronze medal and 18 points that go with it. I think that a lot of folks today fell in love with what the draft team is about. There's your underdog and fighters. And Hannah, they just moved themselves out of the basement, maybe not into the penthouse, but they moved up into a pretty nice mid-level apartment there, as they will no longer be in danger of being relegated. That's huge for draft in 4th. Canyon Esports in 5th. Movistar in 6th. Kirkmeyer 7th. Saris the Pros Closet ends up in 8th today. BRT Mountain Fuel for 9th. Finesse Esports finds the top 10. Let's go a little bit deeper and take a look at page 2 here. And our 11th place team, they were within a minute, very close here between 11th and 12th, is Beast Mode presented by Rose for 11th. 12th is Insured presented by Pedal Power at 101. And then boy, very, very close race today. 109 was the time back for Swedish Zwifters. Restart Racing in 14th. Zwift Warriors Cycling in 15th. No Pins ends up in 16th. Pure Auto Ceramic Speed. Hannah, as you noted, that must be tremendously disappointing for the Danish team. Not sure what happened there today, but sub-ideal for sure. World Elite Zwifters in 18th, Dutch Racing 19th, and Legion of LA had a tough day starting with 3, and they fought their way to finish only 2:21 back. So that's how it all shook out today out on the Magnificent 8, a perfect team time trial course, I must say, for our final team time trial of Season 3. Well, Hannah, anybody who tries to tell you that team time trials aren't exciting, I would say go watch this one and then report back to me.
Certainly, and this will certainly prove you wrong, won't it? But one thing that stands out to me is that Draft, they can perform under pressure. If they're in that relegation drop zone into the community division, they've been able to deal with that pressure. They've been able to come back strong and really, give it everything they've got in the last 2 rounds of the CRL. So I'm just hearing from our Zwift HQ that we have the series standings. Let's take a look at
Let's
how
take a
that
look.
shook
This is
things
going to be,
Dave.
yeah, it's going to be very interesting, isn't it? Well, boy, they really moved up, didn't they? We talked about how today is moving day on the table. The final team time trial is really your last chance to take out a big chunk, and guess who did? BZR Sports Solid is going to make this a very interesting final race in the Surrey Hills. As Canyon Esports, as we said, that 5th place was huge. Well, you can see, Hannah, the difference between 5th and 9th has them either in the lead or chasing. So big save for Canyon there as they end up with 105 points, 2 points ahead of BZR Sports Solid, the team that shocked the world out here today. Callus Esport did themselves a favor, moving up quite a bit into 3rd right now. So the Norwegian team doing a great job. Movistar, our 4th placed team now, as they get a little bit of separation. Next Esport had a great day, and they've moved up into the top 5. Pio Auto Ceramic Speed, you can see they slid down the table a little bit now into 6th. Finesse Esports in 7th. Saris the Pros Closet in 8th. Kirkmeyer E-Racing Team in 9th. The BRT Mountain Fuel hangs on right there on that cusp between page 1 and page 2. It's always better to be on the first page of the results. I noticed that when I was a junior. So the second page is not as much fun. Here it is. It's insured, presented by Pedal Power in 11th. Restart Racing in 12th. Legion of LA in 13th. Beast Mode presented by Rose in 14th. Team Swedish Swifters in 15th. 16th is World Elite Zwifters. Isn't this fantastic? Starting in 20th. Today, moving up into 17th, and potentially they could find the top 15 was Team Draft. Way to go, guys. Swift Warriors Cycling in 18th. No Pins R3RE Racing Team in 19th, and 20th is Dutch Racing. Hannah, I think it's very much worth noting you don't always have to win the bike race to win fans, and that's exactly what Draft did today.
They certainly have. They've won the hearts of the fans watching today.
Well, let's move on, as that is the first half of the show. But now it's time for our second main event, as the women's race is about to get underway. But before we go anywhere, Hannah, let's take a look at what happened in Paris last week on Champs-Élysées. Race 6, the iconic Champs-Élysées. You're going to be dealing with a 5% grade, 6 different sprints out there.
Look at the gap she has here. That was a clear intermediate sprint win there.
Louise Hulbach, the Danish Express. Movistar E-Team picking up 35 points after 2 sprints. All 5 Canyon riders are in this front group. Barbara Frisch coming through now. Wow! This gap has gone up to a minute now.
Barbara Frisch just coming through and nipping her teammate.
This is a huge day for the Movistar team.
Becky Story on the front for Movistar.
Barbara Frisch moving up to the front. Shayna Powles is also right there. Beth McIver gets it done for Movistar. But Tammy Miller really represented for Cryo RDT today. Well, a quick chance to catch our breath, and we are right back into the thick of it. So you already know the course. Nothing changes there. But certainly taking a look at the teams is going to be interesting, as just like in the men's race, there's a lot going on. These are our series points that we're looking at. Let me just start at the top of the table as the mighty Hino Racing Team with 91 points, but it's much closer here in Season 3 as they're being given a real run for their money from Team Swedish Zwifters at 88 points. Then you drop down to third place to find Canyon Esports. It's 2024 sitting in fourth. I Race Like a Girl in fifth right now, but you can see that's a tie at 78 points for those two American-based squads. Movistar E-Team sitting in sixth. They're a new team in the league, and they're punching above their weight immediately. Nice feature on World of Zwift with the Aeonian Race Team. Good to see them sitting in our top 10 as they're ensconced nicely in seventh. Cryo RDT in eighth. Sarah's the Pros Closet in ninth right now, and the women's edition of Beast Mode presented by Rose holding on to a top 10 spot. So we'll take a look a little bit deeper into the league, the 16 teams that we have, including Ensure presented by Pedal Power sitting in 11th, ATP Racing, the Venom edition in 12th, TFC in 13th, it's Turbo sitting in 14th, Vision E-Racing in 15th, and KRT is the 16th team. So that's where things stand right now. So Hannah, with the, I believe it's 15 teams that we have taking the start in our team time trial here today. There's a good look at all of the squads. Give me three teams to watch today. Who stands out to you?
Yeah, well, the first team for me is going to be Hino Racing Team. Their dominance, they're a force to be reckoned with. They've got a strong dialed squad, and they're real stalwarts when they come together. They actually hold the course record on the Magnificent Eight. So this will give us an indication as to, the time the teams are posting this evening. 39 minutes and 9 seconds is the time and the record time that Hino Racing posted in Season 1, made up of Cecilia Hansen, Louise Huback, Alice Lethbridge, Caroline Williams, and Vicky Whitelaw. So collectively, there'll be ones to watch. On to the next team that I think we should be looking out for is Movistar. When we look at this squad, they're new into the Premier Division. They've been improving week by week in the ZRL, which is absolutely tremendous to see. Imogen Cotter, Beth McKeever, Becky Story, Anna Delana, and Steph Clutterbuck, who we must say, Steph Clutterbuck, a very, very happy birthday today, celebrating her 27th birthday riding in the ZRL. So I hope you enjoy the pain, the world of pain you're about to be in. And my final team is Team 2024. They were second in the team time trial in the Greatest London Flat this season, made up of Paige Bolt, Kristen Kulczynski, Shayna Powless, Rachel Lieberman, and Naomi De Pennington. So a real strong squad here, and ones to be reckoned with.
We'll have to get Steph Clutterbuck a pain cake filled with glass and nails for her birthday. I'm sure she would love it. Happy birthday, Steph. As well, Hannah, this is going to be hotly contested, no doubt about it. Last week, I was calling Hino the greatest esports team that we have ever seen. This year, they face some really stiff competition out here. Team Swedish Swifters have stepped up, and today is going to be interesting. Does their domination, now, they haven't won every team time trial that we've had in the ZRL. Only once did they not miss the start. Let's jump right into it as we've got the ladies out on course. It will be on like Donkey Kong out here today as we send the ladies out for 29.1K. Just like for the men, we'll have that check at 1K. We'll start looking at how the teams have been rolling through there. That told us a lot. Actually, Hannah, in the men's race, that time from draft, it gave us a good indicator for what kind of day they're on. And I would expect some information, some data coming out of that checkpoint for the women that will do the same for us here.
I certainly agree, Dave, and I think also the more team time trials we've been doing in the ZRL, the more practice that these teams have been getting, the faster these times are getting. So our first team out of the blocks is Vision E Racing, Sarah Story, Charlotte Colclough, Lizzie Duncombe and Charlie Parnham. The team all made up of 4 Brits, and as we mentioned in the men's, likewise for the women, they will go off at 1 minute intervals.
Yeah, we'll see if any teams are able to make the catch out here. This 1 minute interval is really just perfect for what we're doing. This is going to be Turbo that we're jumping in with now as the team of Linne Herup Madsen. She's the Danish rider here. Dari Taylor is the Irish woman on the team. Laura Payne from the UK. And French rider Sabrina Kurtel making up the Turbo team. So as we're into the 7th of 8 races here, this is another team that don't sleep on Turbo. They're going to be looking for a result today, Hannah, so they can move up out of the relegation zone. Here's a look at everybody with their embedded camera.
They certainly will. They were a team that moved up from the community division into the Premier division of this ZRL of Season 3. And this team is headed up by Gemma Felstead, so she's the woman who keeps things, keeps all the information flowing within the team, keeps them together as a unit, feeds information to their ears, and makes sure that they come together as a team, gives them any information on the course as well, and keeps them motivated, gives them that confidence as well. And I have to say, Turbo, they've come out the blocks, they've got themselves together quite nice and tidy.
Yeah, I agree. The start of this race is so challenging because it's almost as soon as you get the team organized and up to speed, Hannah, it seems like you're on to the hilly reverse. And that's one of the very challenging sectors. It seems like that's particularly cruel for the teams that are struggling. Is just as you start to get organized, you're throwing a cat amongst the pigeons again at the bottom of that climb, as the stronger riders really have to learn how to govern their efforts, gauge things a little bit to keep everybody together, because the last thing you want to do is head into the miles of flats through Fuego Flats with a disorganized team. Speaking of which, what is going on
what's
here?
What's happened here?
Yeah, bit of a dog's breakfast here.
This is not a great start for TFC, is it? This is not a great start for the team in yellow, TFC.
It looks like they're just reorganizing right now, so we kind of caught them at a tough moment, Hannah. Sorry there.
We certainly did. We certainly did. Jackie Chiampi. We also have Dominique Eustace and Hannah Peel. So maybe it looks like one of the riders had a problem. They've only started with 3 riders in tonight's team time trial. So rightly so, and very wise of them to stop at that point. Let's get everyone back together. But they've already had ATP Racing Venom, who have overtaken the squad in yellow.
And I mean, they're going 70% faster to make that catch within just a few K, Hannah. So that's obviously some major problems, just disrupting what was going on with TFC. So we'll wish Hannah, Jackie, and Dominique good luck out here. It's Angela Roberts, one of the powerhouses on this ATP Racing Venom team, Anil Radford, the Australian. So this team came out of the community with a lot of momentum, the Venom team. Cassie Nelson is an American, Cleo Deenan, and Jennifer Santoyo. This is a team that's looking to start climbing the ladder here in the ZRL Premier League. 5 riders together. I have a feeling this is going to be one of the rides, much like Draft, a team that found their rhythm here in the second half of Season 3 of the ZRL. So good luck to ATP Venom here. But things looking pretty good at this point. My heart goes out to TFC, though.
Certainly do, Dave. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's really heartbreaking, isn't it, to see something for a team to have problems at such an early stage in the team time trial, only starting with 3 riders as well. So they haven't got any other riders to fall back on. And as you say, such a shame, real heartbreak for the team in yellow. As we take a look at Ensured, powered by Pedal Power, with the 4 riders, Melanie King, Morgan Shaffin. We also have Angela Pizza and Mallory Macrosti. So 4 riders, all from the USA, and we can see they've got things together quite well as well. McCrosty on the front here, and you can just see the power that she's putting out in comparison to Melanie King, who's sitting on the back right now. So you have Mallory McCrosty pushing over 300 watts, and we've got King in the line. Well, she was just doing just under 200.
They have taken huge jumps forward, Hannah. Mallory McCrosty 6 months ago was just getting her feet wet in e-racing. She was third last week in our points race. I mean, that is huge. Mallory really deserves a tremendous amount of credit. Talking about Mallory McCrosty there out of the District of Columbia, DC, here in the United States. Now, the other rider, Angela Pitzer, here is in Denver, Colorado. Angela is another one. So Angela's community here in Colorado had a rider that was hit and killed by a driver on Sunday. And there's just a tremendous number of riders, people in Colorado that are just really, really hurting today. And Angela is one of them who would have been friends. And this is a tough day to race for Angela, no doubt about it. It's certainly Gwen Erfmeyer is the name of the rider who lost her life on Sunday. And so certainly thoughts going out to Angela today. Cycling is such an emotional sport, Hannah. You ride on heart so often.
It's a real family sport as well, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
And people are
such
so
a fun
connected.
Sport, and we're all one community.
Yeah, it is. That's perfectly put. Even, I mean, if you look at it, the world of pro and elite racing around the world is still less than 5,000 people. If you think about all the pro women, all the pro men, and the people that make up that family, that's not a lot of people. And certainly we all have to look out for each other. And when we lose someone like Gwen, it's heartbreaking. This is going to be beast mode that we're in with now. Alicia Haag, Hannah. There's a rider who we're going to hear a lot more from in the next few seasons. Julia Schlau, Sarah Karulis, Maria Marb, and Kimberly Miller making up the all-German Beast Mode, appropriately named Beast Mode, presented by Rose Team. And this is a team, Hannah, that brings the full package. They're incredibly well organized. They're motivated. They make racing fun, and they certainly get after it. Look out for a good result from them today. They're starting to find their rhythm. They're relatively new to the ZRL. And I'd say that they've moved from that newer status into veteran status this season.
They certainly have, and especially when they've got someone so knowledgeable at the helm as Sebastian Wolf for the team of Beast Mode powered by Rose, and even starting to see the strength and depth coming out of Germany as well, that they have a roster which they can interchange depending on the course, depending on what event we have, whether it's a points race, whether it's a team time trial. They've swapped out Eva Marie Hering from this squad, so great to see the strength coming from all different nationalities. And Beast Mode powered by Rose really are going to be one of those teams to watch, I think, in the coming weeks, in the coming months, as they begin to get stronger. It's their first time in the Premier Division in this season. As we take a look at Saris and the pros closet, Christy Tracy, Courtney Nelson, Esther Boville, Tara Fretter, and Megan Aisler. So another team who've really got themselves drilled, got themselves together. They're really dialed as they go through the volcano. They'll come out of the other side before they hang a right.
Hannah, this team's got some depth. I mean, you really, on paper here, Courtney Nelson is in fuego right now. She has been picking up a lot of Queen of the Mountains on Strava, and it definitely one of these riders that I think is moving into another phase of her professional racing career. Christy Tracy is an endurance legend out of Texas, no doubt about it. Tara Fretter, the rider out of Columbus, Ohio, a former pro on the Supermint team, and she, I'm going to say, talking about individual riders now, Hannah, her promotion and moving up onto this team, as she's new to the Saris the Pros Closet team, that was one of the most significant pickups that we saw out here all year. Let's go in with the Cryo team now and pick up another powerhouse squad, Hannah.
Yeah, they are. And this is one of the teams that we've been mightily impressed with, Dave. They lost two of their star riders to the Movistar E-Team when they did that talent identification program. But Cryo RDT, still with such a strong squad. Natalie Lawrence, Linda Klein, Tammy Miller, Amelia Mitchell, and Natalie Stevenson. And again, they've another squad who's been able to recruit some exceptional talent. Keeping things well together here. A tightly knit unit.
Well, I tell you, Hannah, Cryo RDT is one of the teams that really is more than a team. They're a brand where there are hundreds of riders who identify as Cryo. They've got a pool of talented riders that they can draw from, maybe unlike any other team. Half of the Movistar team came from Cryo, right? And so when you think about that, the fact that they're able to rebuild and still be competitive is outstanding. We're taking a look at the fastest times at that check. Now, this is 1K checkpoint. Movistar, that's a 1:40 fastest time there. You can see how close Saris was. Beast mode within a second. And I Race Like a Girl, the fourth fastest time through at 1K. Interesting.
My. Wow. Well, that's a nice start for Movistar E-Team, and that will give them a lot of confidence. As we said before in the men's race, you can't rest too much on your laurels. It's only the fastest 1 kilometer out of the starting blocks. We'll get a better indication at the intermediate checkpoint of 15.3 kilometers as to how these standings and how these teams are getting on. We have 4 more teams to go through that first, the 1 kilometer checkpoint. And then we'll start to see what the teams are posting. We're here taking a look at Vision E-Racing. Colclough there on the front. Another rider who's got a wealth of talent and a wealth of experience within cycling. She's been racing for many, many years. IRL, out on the road as well as on Zwift and really taken to esports.
Hannah, still looking now at that checkpoint coming in from 1K. We did learn a lot from that during the men's race, and we will here as well. I'm going to say, I don't think we'll be able to, but the time that we see from Heino here will be competitive with some of the men's teams at that 1K check. That's how good they are at team time trialing, because a whole lot of what happens in that first K is repetition, experience, knowing your team and your teammates, and to be honest, Hannah, understanding your role, just like in a team pursuit team. You don't have 4 riders going out there and trying to do all the same thing at the same time. You have to understand that one rider brings it up to speed. Another rider is the relay rider to take over and take that first 30-second pull. And then you move into your rotation. And Heino will do this better than anyone, in my opinion. Now, do they get down into that 135? Yeah, I think so. I'll be surprised if they don't. That's how good they are.
Yeah, definitely. Well, as especially when they've got 5 riders who are real stalwarts. They're strong, they're dominant, and as we said before, you only have to cross the finish line with 3 riders to stop the clock. So actually, if they maximize and utilize their riders, how can they get that strength and the power out and the speed well before you get to the finish line to make sure that you finish with only 3 across the line? Team Swedish Swifters have become our new fastest starters after 1 kilometer. So that's a mightily impressive time, more than 3 seconds faster than Movistar E-Team. A little bit closer in the places behind with 2024 and Saris and the Pros Closet. Beast Mode powered by Rose as well, not far up there, and also I Race Like a Girl. Canyon Esports as well, still within striking distance in that fastest 1 kilometer. Still 2
Cecilia
teams to come through.
Sorry to talk over you there, Hannah. I was thinking what an interesting position Cecilia Hansen is in as a Swedish rider on the Heino team. So I would think that the Swedish Swifters are like, hey, Cecilia, what's going on? We got a Swedish thing going here. We'd appreciate your participation. And she's like, now I have a good thing going here. Now, there is a Wonder Woman, a living Wonder Woman, Caroline Williams from Newcastle. What an outstanding athlete. Caroline, Hannah, You want to talk about dedication? She is now well over 600 days of consecutive Zwifting. And when I say, I'm not saying she gets on for 15 minutes, this is over 2 hours per day. When you talk, that is the most dedicated Zwifter on planet Earth. Wow. So Heino in at 8th fastest time. So Swedish Zwifters backed up my expecting a fast time, but it wasn't Heino, it was Swedish 136. So Heino's got some work to do. It's all the better for racing fans here.
They have, and this is going to be close, isn't it? And now we take a look at Ionian. Lo Sadigis, one of the standout riders, and Barbara Frisch as well from last week. Ariel Verhaeren as well. She was fantastic in those intermediate sprints. And Wendy Matty from Belgium. And Ionian has been another one of these teams that has impressed week on week for me. That they've really been able to improve in the points races especially.
Daniela Istrate is the 5th rider, I believe, that we have. We're moving over to Beth McKeever and company here, as this will be Movistar. They're right in the hunt today, Hannah. Team to watch for sure. We'll spend some time with them. It is worth noting that we start in reverse order as far as your standings on the season. So our top teams will be heading out last. That's why Heino is just getting into the mix out here. But Imogen Cotter is the Irish rider. Beth McKeever, the Scottish rider, who's a 2-time winner in points races, a super talent in the ZRL. Becky Story from the Isle of Man, greatest flag ever. And Steph Clutterbuck rounding out the team here. Absolutely a team to watch today, Hannah.
They certainly are. They certainly are, and we can see that from their 1 kilometer time. And a team, as I said before, that week on week they get better and better, and they just start to find this unit between them all. Of course, this is a new group of riders who've come together for season 3 ZRL, and week by week they're gaining that confidence within each other and learning how each other work, how each other ride. And you can just see the effort there of Imogen Cotter, just trying to match with the pace with Beth McKeever.
It's interesting, Hannah, this team, yes, they don't have a lot of experience racing together, but they do have a lot of experience racing in team time trials. So I would imagine that they'll be able to get this figured out pretty quickly. As a matter of fact, I think that they're past that threshold now, as they've got the code cracked out here. They are absolutely flying right now. And again, they were one of our final teams to get out on course. They got a lot of racing ahead of them here.
Well, it's not a bad debut, is it? Because already in team time trials, they placed 3rd in round 4 when we were down on Greatest London Flat. So we know they're capable of posting a great result today. They'll certainly want to take the top spot, as they did last week. As we take a look at I Race Like a Girl, the 5 riders here, we have Amanda Wendorf, Carly Johan, Catherine Curie, what a legend she is, Linda Farghzadi, and Tamara Jewett. And Catherine Curie, really a rider who, Dave, correct me, she can give a lot of confidence, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience onto her teammates in something like this.
Well, it's funny, you're reading my mind, Hannah, because you couldn't put it any better. You know, we've mentioned that she was U.S. road champion back in the mid-2000s. You know, it's interesting because it's almost a second act type situation. She took some time off of racing. I don't know if you're familiar with Amy Dombrowski, a rider who has a foundation now. She passed away, but was one of the top American cyclocross riders. She lost her life in 2013 in Belgium. Well, Catherine went on to become the director sportif for the Amy D Foundation team. They would do Redlands and Gila and the big stage races in North America. And Catherine wasn't racing, but it was always painfully evident that during that time, and this is like 2014, 15, 16, 17, that the director was stronger than any rider on the team by a long shot. And it's sort of a weird dynamic when the director, if she decided to at any moment, could get on a bike and beat anyone on the team. And Catherine did that for a long time, but then lockdown happened. Catherine broke her arm, got on Zwift, and just one thing led to another. And next thing you know, she is one of the winningest riders in ZRL history. Has been a one-woman wrecking crew on this I Race Like a Girl team. Looks like we're jumping in with Vision here now, Hannah, as they just, the split is what we're going to be looking at, and start getting some times from 15K into the race. We're going to move into the middle phase of the women's race out here on the 29.1K, one lap out here on the course they call the Magnificent Eight.
Yeah, Colclough leading things through Fuego Flats here. And another team who, yeah, they have so much experience within the squad. You've got the likes of Sarah Story, Charlotte Colclough, Lizzie Duncombe as well, and Charlie Parnham. And we're just taking a nice look at Colclough. Opted for the deep section wheel, so she hasn't got the rear disc wheel in. But for Vision e-racing team, they'll be the team who will set the benchmark as they go underneath the rock arch. Let's take a look at the time that they have stopped the clock at this intermediate checkpoint.
Tell you, Lizzie Duncombe is finding her legs in 2021 as she has been setting time trial world on fire there in the United Kingdom. I saw she did a 50-mile time trial. It's kind of cool, Hannah, to see that legacy of time trialing in England, United Kingdom still continues. It sounds like every weekend folks are getting out there for 25 or 50 milers, and Lizzie Duncombe sounds like she's one of the best. Good for her.
Yeah, certainly is, and it's a huge tradition here, racing 10-mile, 25 and 50-mile time trials, and a lot of these riders are extremely strong time trials individually. When they come together collectively as a team, they can post 22 minutes and 18 seconds at that intermediate checkpoint. So this is the checkpoint that the other teams can look at.
So Hannah, 39:09, 39 minutes and 9 seconds was the course record set out here. That was week 2 of season 1, the Hino team. Do you think they beat their time?
Do I think Hino will beat that time? I think they will. I think they've got that knowledge of this course.
Apologize for the communication lag there as we pick up now with 2024. I recently learned, Hannah, I know it's not a big sport in the United Kingdom, but Paige Bolt comes from a dog sledding background. She has been a musher. I'm making that term up, but I think that's what they call the driver of the sleds up there in Alaska. So she used to, maybe still does, but has spent time driving a 12-dog team. And I tell you, that's quite a skill set to pull that off, that's for sure. I think Shayna Paulus goes down as an absolute legend in the world of esports. She has been participating with quite a bit of success over the years and is a great story. You know, Shayna, when she was racing in high school mountain bike racing, Shayna's brother was one of the breakthrough riders at the Tour de France last year, Nielsen Paulus. She raced mountain bikes with Kate Courtney, the world mountain bike champion, when she was a kid in high school. So she has been in and amongst greatness and is great herself her entire life. Her partner, fiance, plays for the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL. So, I mean, just think like her family, her brother, everyone around her and herself are exceptional human beings. The Pauluses don't mess around, Hannah.
They certainly don't, and all exceptional talents as we take a look at ATP Venom as they come underneath the rock arch. Can they challenge the team? And the time from Vision E-Racing, they still have all the riders together, and they don't. They stop the clock 12 seconds back at this intermediate checkpoint. And then we also can see the team of Turbo 1 minute and 36 back. So Vision E-Racing, they're onto a good ride tonight by the looks of things, and could they do a ride similar to what Drafted in the men's racing, where they set this exceptional early time and make it difficult for the other teams to beat and overhaul?
You know, I've seen it before, Hannah, where teams get inspired by watching, you know, vice versa, the men watching the women or the women watching the men, or maybe watching a junior race, and you think you see a breakaway work or you see a team perform above and beyond what was expected of them. It is very, very inspiring. As a matter of fact, that's why we do this. It's not an exercise contest. There's a lot of emotion that goes into this, tactics, strategy. And here is a rider, I have to say, 2021 Breakthrough Rider of the Year on the women's side of things. That would be Mallory McRosty that we're looking at. She's taking huge pulls here. And I must say, that's going to be the checkpoint, so we'll get a feel for what kind of a time they're putting together out here. Beast mode, I believe we're jumping in with here. And they're
the old
gaining,
German squad,
actually.
all with the still have the 5 riders together, and they're around 20 seconds behind, I'm thinking, or 20 seconds ahead, sorry. 22 minutes and
they're
1
closing.
second. They stopped the clock. That's really impressive for one of the newly promoted teams at the start of this season. So another team who, as I said, with Movistar E-Team, Beast Mode powered by Rose, they've improved week by week. The way they're able to come together, have that direction from their sports director, Sebastian Wolf. It's really impressive how these teams can perform week in, week out. As we take a look at Sarasan, the pros closet, Tara Fretter, one of the riders you were talking about earlier on, Dave.
Yeah, Hannah, she's a great story. A mom, I believe, Madeleine is their daughter, the Col de Madeleine in France there, her favorite climb in the world. What a great way to come up with a name for your daughter. As they come through, Sarah's the pros closet. We'll see where they stop the clock. Hannah, I am just hearing from race headquarters that TFC has pulled the pin. They have abandoned the 7th race of season 3 here in the ZRL. It was just a really rough start for them. It sounds like there was some chaos and miscommunication at the start. It just never was able to quite come back together. So we'll look forward to seeing them back next week for our final race this year. But this is going to be Cryo RDT, taking a look at a team that has a great reputation in the ZRL. You can see the arch just in front of them. That's where we'll be taking that check at 15.3K in. It'll be interesting to see. Sarah's fastest time, 21:53, Hannah. So 5 seconds quicker than Beast Mode. This is going to be right in that neighborhood, though, for Cryo RDT. Aeonian.
And it is, because they go fastest at the intermediate checkpoint, 21 minutes and 48 seconds. As Ionian come into the desert, onto the Fuego Flats, can they challenge the time from Cryo RDT? And just to mention with Cryo, we spoke about it before, that they lost two of their big named riders, Makiva and Clutterbuck, but actually Cryo RDT do a great job in nurturing and looking after these riders, bringing them on, and finding new talent as well.
Yeah, there was a great feature.
The Dutch rider Barbara Frisch, Ariel Verharen, Wendy Matty, and Daniela Estrate, who has got back on terms. So they still have the 5 riders all together.
The Romanian rider Estrate is a huge talent. As a matter of fact, this team is chock full of quality riders when you look at it. This Barbara Frisch was incredibly active in the last couple of points races that we have. I'm expecting this to be very good. I mean, they're a top 7 team in the standings, and this should be, Cryo RDT, new fastest time. They're just going inside of Sarah's the Pros Closet, so they're going to put them into second right now at 6. But call it 7 seconds back. Aeonian through, Hannah, with 10.34 seconds back in 3rd right now. So not bad for Aeonian there. They're going to be looking for more in the second half, but this should be very good from Movistar coming through right now, as we might have a new fastest time. Let's see. There it is.
And we do. 17 seconds under the rock arch, 17 seconds faster than Cryo RDT. So Movistar E-Team onto a stormer tonight.
Yeah, well, and here's the problem, Hannah. 3 riders puts you behind the 8 ball right now. You're going to need an exceptional effort from those 3, because the advantage now, it's not quality and quantity, it's a combination of those 2, and we're finding that right now. I tell you what, Hannah, when you go in and take a look at the I Race Like a Girl team and you see that Catherine Curie is sitting on, that's an incredibly good sign, because that means that the other team, the rest of the team, is in the rotation. They're coming to another level out here. Well, I can't imagine that this won't be the fastest time that we've got at this moment, as they are absolutely flying out here right now. I Race Like a Girl looks like they're on another level. They're in a fight for a win as they are looking to climb up the overall table, and we're rapidly running out of real estate. This looks like a really, really good ride right here, Hannah.
It does, and they still have the 4 riders, Jewett, Curie, Wendorf, and Johan. And Curie, as we said before, a real stalwart within this team. She can give so much insight, so much knowledge to her team, her riders. And I wouldn't be surprised if actually during the week they go out and do a team time trial practice, just to make sure that they have things dialed come race day. And what are they going to stop the clock with under the rock arch? Can they challenge the time from Movistar E-Team, who've currently lead at the moment with 21 minutes and 31 seconds. And they drop into 6th place with 39 seconds back on Movistar E-Team. Looks like 2024 are coming into the intermediate checkpoint, still with the 4 riders. And I'm just noticing, Dave, this is a huge shock for Team 2024 that Kristen Kulczynski is not within these 4 riders, so I wonder if she's had a problem at the start of this evening. What are they going to stop the clock with, though, with the 4 riders that they do have? And they slot into 2nd place, 15 seconds behind Movistar.
Wow. Well, since Kulczynski came out of the community, and that was really last June, where Nikki Cranmer picked up on the talent as she was doing some recruiting, looking at Zwift Community Live, where the ZRL will continue throughout the day. As a matter of fact, they've been racing already this morning. They're racing right now, and they'll be racing later in the day. But as Kulczynski came up into the league, she was the biggest impact racer. So Kulczynski did not start today. That's certainly a big news for 2024. It'll be interesting to see, Hannah, what they can do without her. We can relate. We're missing Matt Stevens and Rasan Bahati here. So, we both had to step up our game. Let's see if 2024 can do the same out there. Cecile Lejeune, we're looking at. This is Canyon right now. Always a dangerous team.
They are, and a team who were up there in the team time trials of previous, and they've got a great leader at the helm of this team with Reese Howell, and they slot into 5th position so far, 24 seconds down on Movistar E-Team. So still some work to do over the course of the next 14 kilometers. But certainly, if they've timed it right and they've not gone into that red zone, and we take a look at Swedish Swifters.
This is a stunning ride.
Strom, Nelly Lawson, Jesse.
Yeah, Hannah, I'm sorry to talk over you there. This ride from 2024 is absolutely incredible, considering that there's no Kulczynski. So Naomi de Pennington has really stepped up. This is a new rider on the team out of the United Kingdom. Rachel Lieberman coming out of Seattle. I mentioned Paige Bolt earlier. She's also out of Pacific Northwest. Swedish have come through 2nd fastest time. So this is starting to get much more interesting here, and we are waiting for Heino. They'll be the last team through that checkpoint, and it's going to be right there, Hannah. So Movistar having their best ride of, and there it is, new fast time, 21:15. So Heino, the queens of esport, back on top. So they've got a 16-second advantage over Movistar, 27 over Team Swedish as we move into the grand finale of our final team time trial here in Season 3. Let's take a look a little bit deeper now, Hannah. Every place matters out here.
Yeah, well, It certainly does. Down there in 11th place is Vision E-Racing. 1:04 down on the time just posted by Team Hino. ATP Racing Venom in 12th. Ensured powered by Pedal Power in 13th. Turbo in 14th. And that unfortunate technical problem that we think TFC have had, they have actually pulled out and are no longer in the race. So only the 14 teams tonight. But we're taking a look. On course now with Hino, and they still have the 5 riders. I'm wondering, Dave, what that's going to and how that's going to benefit them over Movistar, who only have the 3 riders.
Huge, Hannah. I mean, it's the difference, if you ask me out there. That's a really valid point, though. And it speaks to what team time trialing is all about, is having the ability to get off of the front and recover and then come back through and hit the front again. I mean, ideally, you're looking at riders taking about 30-second pulls. Hit the front, make 300 watts, and then get off and do it again. It's just rinse and repeat over and over. Canyon will have that figured out for sure. Mary Wilkinson, a rider with exceptional reputation. Stephanie Sidlick, a new homeowner I saw there in Pittsburgh as the PhD holder, Stephanie Sidlick, the doctor of pain. Kirsten Pohl out of Germany. That's another very talented rider, a relentless talent. Cécile Lejeune, the French rider, and then you take a look at Kathy Machner from Austria. Very well-rounded Canyon team here. A little bit of a split opening up right now. That's always the danger, Hannah. You finish a pull, come off the front, and if there's a little bit of a surge, you can find yourself in trouble. Canyon is welding this back together here.
You can, and this is where the communication comes in, that if you're feeling good, that you need to make sure that you keep the team all together for as long as possible and not do these surges where you have to end up backing off, waiting for the other riders. Try and keep it consistent in the way that you produce your effort. You keep it as linear as possible, because I'm wondering how much that effort there that Mary Wilkinson just had to make to get back on terms with her other 2 riders who just started to split things up, how much that is going to affect her. As we take a look at Team Swedish Swifters, keeping things together very nicely. Ekvist on the front here as they go past the waterfall on the right-hand side. So keeping a nice tight bubble here.
Yeah, very experienced team. This is the most dangerous team that Hino has out there. They're sitting in 2nd place on the season, and they're within striking distance. Although, Hannah, get this. They are reporting right now that the average wattage coming out of the Hino team is at a mind-blowing 4.6 watts per kilo from the team. 4.6 watts per kilo right here, right now. You've got to make more than that if you're Swedish Swifters and you want to win. They're going to give them a run for their money. No doubt about it. Hannah, this Swedish Swifters team is going to be a big part of the storyline that we've got in seasons going forward here in the ZRL. Even if they don't beat Hino this year, and again, it's still possible. That's still in the balance. But we've got a new top team. Swedish Swifters in full effect.
We certainly have, and they're not going to let Hino run away with this too easily. They're certainly going to challenge them in this second half of the team time trial. 11.9 kilometers to go until they reach that finish line, so it's really getting to crunch time, and you can start to see the faces on some of the riders. Just take a look at Anna Svardstrom there in her pain cave, head starting to drop, and you can just almost feel for them how much pain they're going through in this team time trial. Well, for Vision E-Racing, they've only got just over 1 kilometer of racing to go. Lizzie Duncombe leading them in to downtown here. And what will be the time that they can post? Of course, we raced here in Season 1. The team of Hino, that they set the course record. That was 39 minutes and 9 seconds. So that gives us an indication of the performance that these teams are doing this evening.
Dame Sarah Story, Charlotte Kolkloff, Lizzie Duncombe, and Charlie Parnham making up this squad. They had a good ride today. something they can be very proud of. We're wondering if this was going to be somewhat of a replication of that ride that we saw from the men's draft team earlier, and we'll see, but certainly they can be proud, hold their heads up high. Oh, the legs, the lactic acid pooling up right now. We used to call this Ocean City. They renamed it Pain City today. They had to, because it's brutal, Hannah. This final stretch here, how about Lizzie Duncombe?
It certainly is. It certainly is. And a huge, mighty effort in the final kilometre there from Lizzie Duncombe. And as you say, Dave, sorry to cut across you there, that the finish can't come quick enough. You can almost start to feel the burn, taste the blood from such an effort in this team time trial. Story's going to work across the line first for Vision E-Racing. What's the time going to be stopped at?
So that was our first
down
team
to the desert with Team Hino.
Thank you, Hannah. As we take a look at Hino here, this has been really the undisputed queens of esport that we're in with now, who for the first time, and when you look at it going back through seasons 1 and 2, they were unbeaten through 2 seasons. We're talking points race and team time trials. Then they had, I wouldn't call it a disaster, but like anybody in cycling, not every day will be perfect, no matter how good you are. And they finally had that day with some technical issues, and they didn't win. And we go back now, and I'm going to move to beast mode here as they are catching and shored. So beast mode about to make the catch here. This is a great indicator for another team, Hannah, on the rise. The German squad, beast mode.
Yeah, they are. They're certainly moving up, and this will give them great motivation to see a team out in front of them at this point on the course as well. It'll just give you, if you're going through a lot of pain, which I'm sure all of these riders, they're in a world of pain, the lactate is building up, and when you see a team out in front, it just gives you that extra little bit of edge as well. And then when you have the motivation on top and the confidence coming from your sports director, your team manager into your ears, I'm wondering how this is going to benefit Beast Mode powered by Rose for the better.
Yeah, I would have to agree that this is the ideal situation, is trying to make that catch into the final kilometers. You're not going to eke out any more speed or be able to really scrape the bottom of that wattage barrel more than you can in this scenario. So that time from Vision E-Racing, 41:30. Considering that the winning time on this course by Hino was a 39:09 back in season 1, 41:30 is probably a top 10 time, actually better than that out here. So Vision doing an exceptional job. Remember that time, and when we go look at our final table, it'll be really interesting to see, was that a top 10? Was it even maybe a top 5 today? Well, the teams are going to try to do their best to eke into that top 5, if not better. Real battle going on right now as we watch the uphill. It goes up to 3%, a little bit steeper than that as you climb up out of the underwater tunnel. Here, beast mode, and Shalau, the rider that's leading them, and they are just about to make the catch. See how this one goes.
Well, those little drags, especially out from under that tunnel, can really catch some riders and some teams out, can't they, Dave? Because you're already starting to go into that red zone, you're already under that pressure, and you're already on that limit of your effort. But as ATP Racing Venom, they're coming into the finish now, 100 meters to go. Will they be able to challenge the time from Vision E-Racing? Is Nelson leading things out for the ATP Racing Venom team? And they
I think they're going to
don't. They're 14
so
seconds behind from Vision E-Racing, but they did pass Turbo.
And speaking of passing, it looks like this is Turbo that we're looking at in purple coming across the line now. So as Hannah mentioned, they were just caught and passed, but that's going to be beast mode presented by Rose making their catch here in the final of the course out here. So Turbo finishes. You can see that time from ATP Racing is respectable at 14 seconds behind. Turbo 2:49 back from Vision E-Racing's 41:30. This is going to be beast mode here, Hannah, coming into the finish. Should be close to ATP
yeah, well,
Racing
into the
Venom.
last few bends. I think so. I think they're gonna stop with a very respectable time. Shallow just leading things in for Beast Mode Power by Rose. Only a couple of 100 meters to go for the all German squad. Maria Marb, Elysia Hag, Sarah Krolles, and Julia Shallow, the teams the 4 riders who are still there. And Beast Mode Power by Rose, they stop the clock and they go into the fastest position so far.
Ooh.
41 minutes and 2 seconds for the German squad. So that's 28 seconds faster. That's great. That's a great ride from the Beast Mode Power by Rose. And now getting a flurry of teams coming in. The next team through is Saris and the Pros Closet, Dave. But yeah, an exceptional ride here from the German squad.
I tell you what, this is going to tell us a lot, Hannah, is how close is Saris to Pros Closet. Esther Boville, the Canadian here, looks like she's going to bring them home as we stop the clock. Now, this is a quality team. If Beast Mode has more than 15 seconds on Saris to Pros Closet, I think they're going to be and they don't, as we got a new fast time, 40:47. Saris to Pros Closet is into the hot seat here. And we're going to see that updating quite a bit as here comes Cryo RDT. The hits don't quit here at the finish line. So Hannah, brace yourself. They are coming in hot right now. This should be a good time by Cryo. I think that's a rider that they're catching here from one of the teams that had already done her work earlier. So here we go. The Blue Express bringing it home around the bend. They're going to see that finish arch. Should be a good time from Cryo RDT. Let's see where they stop the clock. Saris with a 40:47, our fastest at this moment. They've been doing such a great job.
There it is. 40 minutes and 37 seconds. Wow.
Boy, I really want to
9 seconds quicker than Saris and the Pros Closet. So that's a great... So
Hannah, the last 3 teams have beaten the fastest time. So we're really starting, we don't see that often. And I expect it's going to be beat again. Here comes Aeonian.
Yeah, Verhaaren leading things in. Frisch, the 3 riders all together. Daniela Strate is still there, the Romanian rider for Aeonian. But only a few 100 meters to go now. And what can they do? Can they challenge the time from Cryo RDT with the 4 riders? 100 meters. Cryo RDT, 9 seconds quicker than Saris, 24 quicker than Beast Mode. And when they stop the clock, what will it be at the end of the day? Oh, so close. 1 second. Just down on Cryo RDT. So Ionian Race Team, another respectable time there. As Movistar E-Team, they're being led in here by Steph Clutterbuck, the rider who is celebrating her 27th birthday. And she has Beth McKeever and Becky Story from the Isle of Man. So they've had 3 riders for the best part of 3/4 of this race. Imogen Cotter doing a tremendous job, along with Anna as well.
I'll be surprised if this isn't a new fast time, Hannah, to tell you the truth. It's amazing. I don't think I've ever seen this before where we keep up. And there it is. We've got a new fast time from Movistar. And we're going to do that again, I have a feeling, as this is going to be I Race Like a Girl. These monsters have been crushing it out there. So let's update that leaderboard. Things have been changing every minute out here. Movistar with a 40:24. We're getting closer and closer to that 39:09 fastest time ever on this course. They're at 1K to go right now, is I Race Like a Girl. So Cryo RDT, they're 13.71 seconds back. Aeonian at 14 back, 23 back for Saris the Pros Closet in 4th. Beast Mode. Seems like it was only a moment ago that they took the fastest time from Vision, Hannah. It's just been hit after hit out here as Beast Mode presented by Rose in 5th. Vision sitting in 6th. ATP Racing in 7th, but that's going to change again, I would think, as here comes I Race Like a Girl. Racing like they are on a mission now.
Well, we've certainly been spoilt, haven't we, with the way that these teams have ridden. and the times that they're posting, and it's been so close. What can I Race Like a Girl do tonight? Catherine Curie leading things in. Amanda Wendorf just on her wheel there in the centre of the trio. Carly Johan as well is there, and Tamara Jewett has just got back into terms with the 4 riders forming this blob. They have around 300 meters left to go until they make the finish. Are they going to be able to challenge the time from Movistar E-Team, do you reckon, Dave?
Well, I'm getting a feeling that Movistar team is going to hold now, just as this is going to be touch and go, very, very close here at the finish line. So there's the familiar kid of I Race Like a Girl across the line. Oh boy, so this is 2024. What an interesting day of racing for these three. Rachel Lieberman has been waiting for this kind of a performance, and it looks like Lieberman has really stepped up. You would think, Hannah, losing Kolchinsky would have been a huge problem, but I have a feeling that they have more than stepped up on 2024 today. Back in now with Canyon. There's Mary Wilkinson bringing them home. So 2024 in at fourth now.
Down there in 4th place.
I Race Like a Girl in at 7th, so they didn't even really, they were 54 seconds behind Movistar, Hannah. Interesting.
They were, it's very interesting, 17 seconds back on Movistar E-Team, but Canyon Esports challenged this one. Likewise again with the 4 riders, Cecile Lejeune, Mary Wilkinson, Stephanie Sidlick and Kirsten Pohl. And they need to better the time of Movistar E-Team of 40 minutes and 24 seconds if they want to be in with a shout of a podium or a victory tonight. And Canyon Esports, a team who is well within their strengths to do so. Well, they've crossed the line, time will tell. And they're there in 4th place, 15 seconds down on Movistar E-Team.
Well, here it is, this mano-a-mano battle between Swedish Zwifters and Heino. Swedish Zwifters are crushing it. The final K is just about into their rearview mirror. Oh boy, Hannah, this is going to be incredibly close. In my mind, I can't imagine how this isn't a new fastest time that we're looking at, as the Swedes are in fuego out here today on the Magnificent 8. So, but it looks like Heino is in sight right behind them. And if, Heino does it again, Hannah. As Swedish finishes, Heino was right behind them. That's how you do it. So Swedish Zwifters very, very close to Movistar, but in a league of their own, Heino Racing delivers yet another win. There's going to be a huge sense of satisfaction from this ride out here today. Boy, that wrapped up quickly, didn't it? As Heino Racing team. Yeah, I mean, they were right there behind them. We picked that up. Great job by Naomi, our producer there, as Heino Racing team delivers a 39:32. That does not beat the record that they set on this course in season 1. That was a 39:09. It speaks to the changes in the game along the way, but 4.5 watts per kilo. You can see that Movistar was actually making more watts per kilo, but Heino just that little bit more efficient. The Zwift craft is very strong with Heino. So 39:32 for the win. 51 seconds back is Movistar for silver. Bronze medal today, Team Swedish Zwifters. So that Movistar ride actually benefits Heino, as it'll move 1 point in between Swedish and Heino. Cryo RDT in 4th, Aeonian 5th, Canyon 6th, 2024 7th. Sarista Pros Closet in 8th out here today. Beast Mode presented by Rose in 9th, and I Race Like a Girl rounds out your top 10. Let's go a little bit deeper here on to page 2. Our first team to start, Vision E Racing, ends up in 11th, ATP Racing Venom 12th, Ensured presented by Pedal Power in 13th, Turbo 14th, and TFC ultimately had to abandon today after a rough start. Well, they are tabulating, Hannah, right now, our season total. But what was your takeaway from out there? Heino being Heino, I guess. No surprise there.
Certainly not. I mean, they were down at the intermediate checkpoint. they didn't actually post the fastest time, and for the team to come together collectively and come back strong for the second half, I think that just shows the strength and the power that this team has. And then to actually post a time 51 seconds faster than Movistar E-Team, to take things at the last moment, to snatch the glory from Movistar as the last team. I mean, Movistar E-Team must have been licking their lips, thinking that they've got the win here in the team time trial. And at the last moment, it's Hino Racing Team who've done it again. And I'm hearing that we have the overall points. Let's see how things stand.
Thank you, Hannah. Well, there you go. The monsters of esports, Hino Racing Team, now sitting on 111 points. So they actually pad out their lead a little bit heading into our final race of Season 3, Surrey Hills, next Tuesday. Team Swedish Zwifters continue to fight, sitting in second on 106 points. Gets very interesting when you look at what's happening here in third, fourth, and fifth as Movistar moves into third with 96 points, 2 points ahead of Canyon Esports. That's certainly within striking distance. And Cryo RDT now tied with 2024 for fifth and sixth. Aeonian Race Team in seventh. I Race Like a Girl in at eighth. Saris the Pros Closet ninth. Beast Mode presented by Rose rounding out our top 10. And we'll go a little bit deeper. Take a look at page 2 and see that in 11th place is Insured, presented by Pedal Power. ATP Racing Venom in 12th. TFC, that's 13th for them. Vision Racing in 14th. Turbo 15th. And Kiss Racing Team sitting in 16th there. So that's our season tally after 7 races. We'll be moving into our final day next week. But Hannah, that was quite a team time trial to wrap things up. And certainly for Hino, there's got to be a deep breath of relief, to tell you the truth, because even for the top teams in the world, there's a lot of things that can happen that are out of your control on a day like today. And it looks like they weathered the storm.
They certainly did. They certainly did. And they came back strong. They've extended their lead as well to Team Swedish Swifters. But now the real fight for next week in Surrey will begin for that final podium placing of third place. Because it looks like Hino and Team Swedish Swifters kind of have things quite wrapped up there for first and second. But now the battle is really going to be on.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Hannah. It's going to be just an old-fashioned throwdown out there, much more like a regular points races. I think we have some teams that are going to be battling to move up the table, but I think that all of these riders, especially with a course like we have at Surrey Hills, this will be, for lack of a better phrase, the queen stage of this Season 3, the hardest day of racing. And there's certainly some riders that are going to be licking their lips, looking to get a chance to make their mark out there. So Hannah, another great day of racing. Again, we're always going to be missing Matt Stevens and Rasan Bahati, but I had a great day with you here today. So thanks for all of your awesome efforts. You're an incredible teammate.
Thanks very much, Dave. Pleasure to work with you. And I think for some of the riders next week, the pressure's really going to be on, isn't it, as well, that they know they need to perform. They know they need to stay up there within the league. And it's going to be a wonderful showdown, so don't miss it.
Well, another thing to not miss would be the World of Zwift. I absolutely love that show. OJ Borge has become a favorite of mine. So make sure you check it out. There's a fresh episode every week. So enjoy the World of Zwift. I know you will. And a shout out to our thousands of community league racers around the globe as racing continues today. They'll be picking up with racing in the Americas. As a matter of fact, America's East racing in just a couple of hours with Nathan Guerra and his all-star crew there at Zwift Community Live. So for our amazing production team at Zwift, we really appreciate all of your hard work. For my colleague, Hannah Walker, a big thank you for joining us here on the Zwift Racing League, and we'll look forward to seeing you back next week as it is the final of Season 3 in Surrey Hills. I'm Dave Toll saying, ride on.